This is Paul Newman with the Cash Flow Cafe podcast. Today we have on Marques Watson-Trent, the recently announced Defensive Player of the Year for the Sunbelt. Major honor. Can't think of a better one, and glad to have you on the show. So in 1 minute or less, tell us all about yourself.
Yes, sir. Like you said, Marques Watson-Trent, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, man of faith. My faith is, my foundation, the biggest part of my life. Love my family. Have a beautiful girlfriend who I actually met here on campus my freshman year. The oldest of, nine? Nine.
Oh, wow. That's a big one.
Yeah. So the oldest
you're
of
the
nine.
oldest, so you're setting the tone.
No doubt. So, big on, leadership and different things like that. That discipline my parents instilled in me young, just because I was the oldest and everything like that. Love football, play inside linebacker, been playing since I was 6 years old.
Wow.
So I've been playing a long time. I'm on my older end now of my career, but just in the beginning, trying to make that next step.
Man, that's awesome. So how did you get recruited to play at Southern? What was it like? Did you get a ton of offers out of school when you were in school, and how did you land at Statesboro?
Yeah, so my high school recruitment was kind of wild, as many would say. Was blessed enough to have a lot of opportunities. I had my first offer right after my freshman year. I was actually Duquesne University, so shout out to them to kind of get it started. But, ended up with like 25 when I ended. Kind of made a decision late. It was between here, Akron, Louisville, and Pitt was kind of my main focus going into December, and then kind of took some visits, some places, visits to Syracuse, and then once I came to Statesboro, it was kind of like a match made in heaven. I was original staff of Coach Lunsford, which was, was a great guy here. He taught me a lot, in my first 2 years I was with him. But the visit was wonderful. The people I got to really talk to was good. Matt Wise was one of the big people I first met here. So if you know Matt Wise at all,
Big shout out, Matt.
Big shout out, Matt Wise. He's the guy. So it was just everything kind of aligned, especially with the degree I wanted to get in accounting and everything. So everything just matched up for me.
Let's touch on your accountant degree real quick. That's not a major. It's a tough major. I mean, I was a business major, but accounting, I was like, that's a little hard. So I did marketing and sales emphasis. But accounting's tough. Have you finished? Are you already on track to graduate?
Yeah. So I actually graduate next Tuesday.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Congrats.
Man, it's a long journey, especially balancing my sport in class. But I feel like, with anything like that, you just got to put the work in. And it's been an extremely hard process. Got a lot of help from, Ryan. I want to shout out him as well. Someone who's been a part of this program for a couple of years now, really under the radar, really doesn't get, kind of the light that he should. But he's been doing amazing things as far as the football program and, that side of the whole experience as a student athlete. But it's been great, man. I'm ready to finish though. Definitely.
Yeah, school is tough, and you picked a tough one. I mean, a big shout out to you. So let's fast forward a little bit. What does the next year look like? Are you looking to go pro, and shed some light on what the next 2-3 years looks like for you?
Yes, sir. So my main objective, going into it is, my biggest dream was being in the NFL and different things like that. Still waiting out the process to kind of see my draft grade and how that goes. So, been talking to agents, been talking to a lot of people I trust about what's the next couple steps. But, I have my degree in accounting, so I always have something to fall back on. I really want to start being a CPA kind of after. So going to go in that field if, football doesn't work out. But my main focus right now is, being a professional athlete and doing everything I can to be good in that.
So, all right, so let's just say the grades don't check as far as the draft grades, and they're not projecting you to get drafted. Would you come back? What would you do?
Yeah, I haven't really. I thought about it as much, but we have a bowl game right now, so really haven't put that kind of pressure on myself.
Get past the bowl game.
Yeah, get past the bowl game first to remain focused on what's at hand and the main objective, which is going 1-0 this week, and bringing a bowl game back to Statesboro, which is something I love this community. I love, this school and what this stands for. So anything that, we can bring back is wonderful for me. So that's been my main focus. Haven't really thought too much about, outside of the NFL.
So if you let's just say you make it to the NFL and you hit your dream, And, studies kind of show that usually on average, I guess what the NFL career is, 2 to 4 years, maybe something like that. What does that look like for you trying to make your money stretch, or how do you feel about kind of investing the money, or what would you do with it if you made it to the NFL?
Yeah, so I had a lot of thought about that as well, kind of going to it, which one of the reasons why I wanted to go into the accounting field, just to learn how to manage money and, do my taxes and different things like that, and understand that kind of that financial literacy, if you would say. But very big on investments, starting, even talking to you, getting some knowledge as far as real estate and different things like that. Maybe have something in that as well. Businesses as well. My brother actually has a clothing line. So
cool.
Yeah. So
it's
called A Maverick. A Maverick.
A Maverick.
It's actually his birthday too. So shout out to him.
Happy birthday!
Yeah,
That's
happy birthday. But he has a clothing brand, and that's going really well as well. So probably help him with that, and start my own thing as well.
Yeah, I'm real passionate about owning businesses, entrepreneurship, and sometimes if you don't have a ton of extra money to actually buy an investment, like pour into the business that you might own, or some form of entrepreneurship. It's a really good path to wealth, is owning and running a business. And of course, you can go back to how passionate are you about the business that you own. And the more passionate you are, you feel like you're not working, and you're there every day grinding and hopefully going to make some money. But the accountant field, man, I think you could bust it wide open, and it just takes time. You learn, you get up under somebody, and then you establish your client base and all that kind of stuff.
No doubt, 100%. I think that's a great thing.
And I think money is kind of a weird thing to talk about, right? Like nobody wants to say, well, I make X dollars, or I think the bragging piece of money is not really what money's about, right? Like money to me is experiences and doing things with your family, and obviously setting yourself up for a financial security, but it's making memories and being able to provide for your family, for me, is what money is. But money, you got to make it stretch, and that's your field, accountant, and kind of managing money and learning how to do X, Y, and Z. And most people don't know how to make it stretch, don't know how to save.
Yeah, no doubt, no, 100%. I think as far as just making it stretch, and also what it means to you, is the biggest thing. Coming from where I'm coming from, financial literacy and money is different things like that kind of was hard for me. My parents did everything they can to provide, and they did a great job providing. But as far as, that big lump sum of money, or having money to, do different things like that, we didn't really have that. So for me, it's very important to show my family, like, look, this is what we can do if you save the right way, if you use it the right way, if you invest it the right way. Also helping my little brother doing his own thing. So I think that's what money means for me. It's not more a materialistic thing, to buy, the best things, the best
That's
clothes,
right.
Just to show off. I think people who do that kind of, waste their money, and you don't see those people with a lot of money
down the line. Well, and that's the thing, right? Some of these NFL guys, or any career, right? NBA, Major League Baseball, it can be such a quick period of time, and you think, oh, I'm going to go buy the biggest house, the biggest car, like. You've got to set yourself up for those things. Like, those things don't need to just happen just because you made $1 million. Well, you make $1 million, the government takes half. You're down to $500,000. You buy some nice car, you buy a big house. Where did that money go? It's gone. You know what I mean? So you have to set these systems up to either have a successful business or have a career. And most of these NBA, NFL, Major League, most of them are not careers. It is a moment in time. And that moment in time, you don't need to just floss all your money away, right? Like, you've got to be smarter than anybody, because that could just be 2 years of you making really good money. And then what does the future look like?
Yeah, 100%. And, something that I started to learn in my little career of making money, because, just started, I'm young. When I was younger, $100 was $1,000 to me. But when you get older and start realizing, like, those amounts, X amount of money can really go as fast as you get them.
Right.
So just starting to understand that, and really having that maturity and money is really helping me in my process. And, still learning. Don't know everything. Probably spend a lot of time, make dumb decisions with money as well. But I think it's just about learning and understanding. You can use it better.
And money has to be talked about more, right? Like, we have to educate each other. And like I said, it's not back to the bragging piece of money. Like, that's, there are people like that, but that's not who you want to be around. But you do want to talk to people and say, well, how did you invest it, or how do you save? Like little things like I'm passionate about, man. I used to drink water every single time I went out to eat, because you know what? I was saving $2 every time, or whatever. Back in the day, it was Coke was probably $1. Now it's $3. You go out to $3. Like, doesn't sound like a lot, but every time you go out to eat, that stuff adds up. So what are the little ways, are you walking into a gas station, you think, I'm only going to spend $8. I mean, it's $8, right? But like, if you do it every day, it adds up. So it's like, it's little things, and it's educating your peers on maybe ways you save, or hey, I'm not gonna go out to eat today, because that out to eat's $20. I can make a sandwich at the house for $1.
No doubt, 100%. And shout out to my mom. She taught me how to cook. That's a big money saver as well.
Yeah.
When you can get some groceries in and start cooking and meal preps and different things like that. That's something, I really started to do and lean on, because that can save a lot of money. You go to Chipotle, that's like $20 a bowl now, especially with inflation. So just learning those different things, like you said, water. My biggest thing right now is coffee, like we talked about. I got to figure out a way to make coffee at home better.
So I have I'm a big McCafe guy. That's McDonald's coffee, and I buy it in the by the big tubs. And like this morning, I got up and put it in the cot and made the strong stuff, and I drink it all black, but that'll wake you up and get the energy going. But you go to Starbucks, you go to Dunkin' Donuts, and you spend $3 or $4. I mean, it blows my mind. People in Dunkin' Donuts lines, their line goes back down the road on Fair Road, and people are waiting in line. They're gonna spend $4 or $5 every morning. That adds up. All you gotta do is make it at the house.
I'm laughing because I'm probably one of those people in that line.
Yeah, that's all right. Maybe this conversation will make you cut that out.
Yeah,
but
100%.
Making it at the house is a big deal.
No doubt.
But it's little ways to save, right? And it's just like, how to, do you need the nicer car? Could you get maybe a paid off car? Could you get like, a little bit less? I mean, everybody nowadays, they're keeping up with the Joneses and getting $1,000 vehicles, that kind of, $1,000 a month. Like, that's a lot of money, but everybody just feels like they should have it, right? Like, I drove a paid off car forever, right? Like, I drove, my grandmother gave me a Honda Accord that was like a 92 Accord, and I rode it, I didn't have a payment, and so I think then I elevated to a Camry, a newer Camry, but I got it paid off and held on to it for a long time. So it's like, those are ways that you can save money, not some big car payments.
Definitely agree with that.
So anyhow, so let's talk about some other stuff. How about how has college football changed over the last, you got in and you said 2020? 2020. So how has it changed in these years and leading up to now?
Just starting off, when I first came here, I kind of came in COVID year. So it was a world of difference, with not having fans, the resources kind of being cut a little bit because of COVID. But just seeing it from 2020 to 2024 now, it's been a major difference as far as even NIL. But if we're just talking solely Georgia Southern, the access and the resources we have, admin has done an amazing job with just adding different things to the training room, to the nutrition. I remember when I get here, we didn't even have like Powerade and Gatorade in there. So now seeing that things and what that does for the program as far as just making it a professional program and a place to really want to be, I think it's just been a world of difference. I think that really contributes to winning games.
Right.
If people don't really understand that part of it. But just from being here from 2020 and now, it's been a difference for sure.
And is the NIL stuff, was it tempting to leave? Did you always knew you were going to stay an Eagle? Did you just, where were you at with like some of that? Because obviously you're Sunbelt Player of the Year defensively. Like, you could have gone probably anywhere you wanted to. What was that like to stay put and stay home?
That process it was definitely hard. I think it's hard because it's new and there's not a lot of things you can compare it to. A lot of people can't speak on it because from college to now it's a whole different field now, with NIL and everything. So you don't really have a lot of guidance. I think the biggest thing that helped me and the reason why I stayed is one, the connections and relationships I have here. Really meant the world to me. I love this community, like I said. When even the first day I came here, I felt love, felt like it was family. So just, those things really instilled in me, like that blue collar mentality, that's really who I am.
Right.
So understanding that and really wanting to bring a championship back to Statesboro was, kind of my main objective. And the money is good, and we talked about it, like what it can be for you as far as security and just wealth for your family. So that conversation definitely had to happen. But shout out to Eagle Collective. Here, we just started. Lenny is a big factor in that. He gives his heart and soul to this program.
He does,
and that really helped us. With my decision being here to stay. But the biggest thing is keeping the main thing. I want to go to the NFL one day, and that's kind of where I see my big payout. So right now, just staying in the process of kind of doing the best thing for me and my family and my future.
I think it's amazing that the best players are getting paid, and I think that's long overdue. It's some of the stuff that I get frustrated with, though, is like, sometimes you got to persevere. If you're on second string and you're not getting the looks, that doesn't mean that you're just going to go run somewhere else. And they may tell you, oh, you're going to be a starter and you're going to be the best. You may end up being buried over there the same way. Even worse. So it's like, I think a lot of people are finding out when they jump ship because they're second, third string, or they're not getting the looks they feel like they deserve. Sometimes you just got to stay the course,
No. I believe in that. I believe in, not running from smoke. Like being like football, you got to be a dog, man. Like it ain't something you can just pick and choose your battles and different things like that. If you got something in front of you, you gotta go through that. And you never know what God's doing for you. Like that adversity or that battle that you're going through is only to make you stronger at the end of it. So if you battle against someone who's been a starter for 3 years and you end up winning that battle, that's going to make you a better football player and also around you help you grow in your situation. But I'm not a big fan of jumping ship when there's something in front of you. But as far as like, there's certain situations where it's beneficial.
That's right.
It's not all bad. The portal is not all bad. There's guys like Joe Burrow who jumped in the portal and did something great with his life.
Absolutely.
So it's all about just making the right decision, making sure you got connections wherever you go. Not just doing an emotional decision, but also putting some thought into it.
Because that's the piece you lose, right? Like, you lose, like, you've really, you networked in the community, but sometimes if you start all over, they don't really know who you are, and you lose some of that kind of traction that you've gained. Yeah. And so, some of it, that's kind of my thoughts on some of it. But, the portal is here to stay. There's some stuff I hope that will change over time. But it's that is definitely something that's changed since you got into football.
Yeah, it definitely has. My freshman year, I don't know nobody who jumped ship or kind of like that or, got in the portal. But now it's like every week you might have your teammate in the portal and, you got a whole new team next year.
Touch base a little bit on your leadership and faith. You've been a captain for 2 years. And you just are a leader on this team. Like, you are the definition of Georgia Southern football, like straight up. And I've enjoyed watching you play. You've always give your heart and soul to every play. And some of the stuff, man, you may not even feel like you've had a good game. I forget which game. I remember looking back. It was one game this year where you either had like a strip. You hustled down to the end, stripped him right before he scored. Do you remember which game that was? And like, you don't make that play, that's probably ball game. And so it's, I don't know, your leadership, but touch base on just what it means to lead the guys, to be the dog, and also on your faith.
Yeah, for sure. I think leadership comes from, one, I have to shout out my father. I think that's where men kind of first start realizing what leadership is. So I feel like to be a good leader, you got to be a good follower. And I just followed in my father's footsteps. Like, he kind of set that example to me throughout my years of being with him. And, that's really something that I took. So when I came here and, started learning from other people like Rashad Bird, Todd Burley-Grin, I really, listened and really try to, mimic some of the things.
Watch, emulate,
study, because those things are, when you see someone who's doing something effective, you kind of, there's a reason why, it's not a secret, but you just got to, watch and listen. So that's something that I do. I always, make sure I'm listening in any room. If there's a conversation, it don't matter who it is, you can get something out of it. If it's something, not to do or, the way to do it.
Right.
So just the years of just having really good people in front of me. And then when it was time to step up, just step up and be there. I think as far as football and leadership, is really getting everybody to go in the right way. You can't have guys, worrying about individual success. You can't have guys worrying about the portal money. You got to really hone in and focus on winning a game.
Yep.
and it's hard to win games.
100%.
So throughout the year, you kind of have to, start. It starts in January. It really doesn't start in fall. Some people think that, but it's winter workouts. When you're in workouts, you got to be a leader. When you're outside of the facility, you got to be a leader.
Yep.
And those things are really, kind of things how my philosophy of leadership is just showing up every day, making sure everybody's going the right way, and it's just going from there.
So I want to touch base on a couple of things you said, because it strikes a chord with me. So one, your father setting the tone, right? Like I talked about something this morning, is like fathers really have to set the tone, and it doesn't have to be some perfect example, but you need to be out there showing what it means to lead your family, to treat a woman, to all the things, right? Like the kids are watching, like everybody's always watching, right? So it's like and same thing you said, when you had these guys like Bird and some of these other guys ahead of you, like you were watching them, you were studying them. And for my career, I learned from somebody for 10 years at Coldwell Banker. I watched, I studied, I learned, and then I say, well, I could do this. So just same thing for you. You watch some of the big dogs, you're like, I could be that guy, and you studied and then stepped up in your moment of leadership. So that's really really cool. And touch base on your faith, Mar.
Yeah, for sure. That's my foundation. Wouldn't be here, without the Lord and my Lord and Savior, and not perfect whatsoever.
None of us are.
That's what I feel like. I feel like He's always there for me when everything else is not. You know what I mean? If I ever feel alone, I'm in His hands. I'm good. You know what I mean? And He helps me make decisions. I don't make no decisions without Him. Having His hand in it. And it really means everything to me.
Yeah, and it's cool watching an organization like Georgia Southern having prayer at the top. Coach Helton's a man of faith. Matt Wise being around and leading the guys, and the fact that you're the captain of the football team and a defensive captain and sharing your faith, like that's why I support Athletes in Actions, because guys look up to you, right? Like you're a leader, and we know we're not supposed to make you guys like the heroes and stuff like that, but that we do. We look up to our football players, and that's a big position, right? And that God gave you that position.
No doubt. And I think that's the biggest thing. Understanding that I'm only here because He put me here. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's why I always contribute all my success to Him. Because it's truly, His hand. I have not made all the best decisions in my life, but the biggest decision I made is trusting Him.
And the main decision, and the only decision, right? You've already got past the best decision you could ever make for your life and your family. So He's got your footsteps. All right, so let's see. We got a couple more questions. All right, so how do you drink your coffee? A lot of you young college guys are not necessarily coffee drinkers. How do you drink your coffee?
I do drink coffee. I'm a caramel cappuccino guy.
Okay.
Just cool with nothing crazy, no whipped cream or anything like that. But I'm smooth off of that right there.
And is that what is your go-to? Dunkin' Donuts?
Dunkin' Donuts is cool because it's right. It's not super expensive, and it's right there. So when I go, I can just go to the facility. But I occasionally hit Starbucks as well.
Okay, nice. So if you had $100 to invest with what you kind of know, like where do you think you'd want to put it? How would you want to invest it, just with what your financial knowledge is now?
100% I would invest in my brother's business. Just seeing the creative mind that he has and the success he has in his business, 100% would want to do that as well.
Touch base on his business, and since it's his birthday, give a shout out to like what is it? What kind of clothing is he selling? What's his focus?
It's really streetwear. It's some wonderful work. If you can look it up, it's amaverick.com.
Okay,
that's his brand. And he does some amazing things like that. He's a Christian follower as well.
Christian, super creative.
Yeah, super creative. Some really cool stuff. Some new age design. So really a little different than people would normally see. But it's amazing work, and I just love what he does and the passion behind it. So truly believe in him. He works extremely hard as well. That's contribute to our parents as well. They kind of implemented that in us. But he's doing great things. He's going to have a bright future. That's
awesome. Amar, what do you feel like your biggest time waster is? What do you waste the most time on? You're like, man, if I cut that out, what do you feel like you waste the most time on?
I would say my phone. I think, everybody in this generation will say that, just honestly. I think, if it's even Instagram scrolling a little too long, I think I would love to cut that out.
Just getting caught. And it is, I wish I could read more books. There's these great books out there to read, but you get caught up on the 30 minutes or the hour, and you're just scrolling, and you're just like, For me, I mean, I like it. I can justify some of it because a lot of my stuff comes up as motivational, like, inspiring stuff, which that's just my personality. But, like, I know I'm like, all right, come on, let's read a book. Let's do something different.
Let's do something a little different. I think same with me. I get on there, watch highlights or something like that. I watch film all day. And sometimes, you kind of got to detach and, really be in the moment of where you're at.
That's right.
Yeah, so learning that, as I go, especially being in a relationship, you don't be wanting to watch the film on dates. And so I had to learn.
That's it. That's right. You got to keep her around for a while.
You got to keep her around. Shout out to my girlfriend as well. She's been here through this whole process. And, hopefully we can soon make that next step, really mean the world to me, and the thing that she does is amazing. So
having a good woman by your side is very important, man, and that's awesome. I definitely wish y'all the best of luck for sure.
Appreciate you.
Well, man, I enjoyed having you on the show. It was it was fun talking faith, football, finances, Triple F, right? And man, I'm just happy for you. I've enjoyed watching you grow at Southern. Selfishly, maybe I hope you come back another year, but no. But really, I hope that you get the grades you want, and the bowl game goes great, lead us to a 9-win season, and just great job overall.
I appreciate you, man. Enjoyed it.
Yep.